Good morning and welcome to the new episode of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. The West has a certain prejudice, certain intolerance, and its leader, the United States of America, takes it as bounden duty, moral responsibility to undertake a sort of a holy war against anything which is not to their liking. Russia invades Ukraine and that's not acceptable, agreed. But the war is being fueled, aided by the West. In fact, NATO under the leadership of USA is fighting a proxy war in Ukraine. And who is suffering? The people of Ukraine. Whether because of the Russians or because of this resistance propped by the West. I'm not saying that Russia should have invaded. No, that is absolutely unacceptable. But the actions of the West are equally horrible. And this fact has been talked about many times in media. People all over are saying, even in Europe. President Macron also has contradicted himself a couple of times, of perhaps. But there is another proxy war which Europe is fighting. Here is not NATO. But NATO is a part of it, but NATO minus USA. And this proxy war is ignoring the crimes committed against humanity by Hamas, which should have been deemed a terrorist group, but has not been, and this proxy war against Israel is quite humiliating, painful for the Palestinians that the European Union officials who regularly visit the Gaza Strip intentionally ignore the suffering of Palestinians living under Hamas. Isn't it amazing that you go to that area and you cherry pick the suffering of the Palestinians living under Israeli control and Palestinians themselves living under Hamas control? Just an example, on February 2, 15 European heads of mission visited the Gaza Strip and they did not utter a single word about compassion, about sympathy for the victims of the Hamas crimes, and absolutely horrible human rights violations. Notably, the European Union officials did not state that it is Hamas, whose wealthy leaders live comfortably lives in Qatar, Turkey and many other countries, that is mainly responsible for the bad humanitarian exploitation in Gaza Strip. It's not Israel who is making those people live like semi-human beings. No, these are the Hamas leaders. And look at the style in which they live. So instead of working to strengthen the economy after it violated the agreement, it violently seized the Gaza Strip in 2007. Since then, Hamas has been investing millions of dollars of aid, so-called humanitarian aid. But is it spent for the humanitarian purposes, for the food, for the housing, for the medical? No. Hamas has been investing these millions of dollars that it receives as aid to build tunnels. Not only that, it manufactures and smuggles weapons to attack Israel. And all that is ignored whether it's United Nations, whether it's European Union, whether it's the Human Rights Commission, nobody says that. Now look at it. Hamas receives a lot of money, aid money from Europe and USA. So either it's building tunnels, manufacturing and exporting weapons for the terror activities around the world, and it also diverts aid to fund its military ventures. This Hamas is in fact Iranian-backed group, and it openly says that they'll continue killing innocent Jews if they dare enforce a law against those who violate the law. So it's like dacoits telling that, look at it, the police comes, we'll simply kill the police. And they threaten Israel will pay the price. And then this group is lauded, lionized, feted by the West. They show the solidarity by European Union with the residents of Khan al-Amar has not only emboldened Hamas, in fact, it is providing oxygen. It is providing incentives to Palestinians to pursue and persist in their illegal attempts to seize territory. And in fact, while the Oslo Agreement, for which they got the Nobel Prize, the Oslo Agreement clearly said that they would not illegally seize the territory, and they are doing it. They had agreed that these lands did not belong to them. In writing, it's there. And Arafat had signed that agreement. And because of signing that agreement, he shared the Nobel Prize. The ink was not dry on the paper and the violation started. It was a typical case of Takia. Say something good, use it as a cover, as a camouflage, and continue with your nefarious activities. And your godfathers will keep on smiling benignly. And then, if the opponent attacks you or punishes you, they will cry, tiger. They'll blame them. Recently, a confidential document came to our knowledge. It is composed by the European Union mission in East Jerusalem. This is a confidential document. And the European Commission in the East Jerusalem reveals that Brussels, the headquarters of the European Union, is actually working with Palestinians, and the objective is not good. The objective is to take over all of the area C by building scores of other illegal facts on the ground. Illegal facts on the ground, quote, facts on the ground, illegal facts on the ground, quote, unquote, and they want to take over all that area C. And in this illegal activity, European Union is actively assisting, aiding and abetting. So they are in fact committing a war crime, a crime against humanity. Moreover, by doing so, European Union has disqualified itself from playing the role of an honest broker. And not only now, but also in any future peace process between Israel and Palestine. There is no denying the fact that many Palestinians have suffered, but the primary cause of suffering is Hamas. Of course, Israel is no angel of mercy. And the one thing about Israel is that it repays any attack on it 10 times. The retribution is swift and brutal. And then maybe they need it because they're surrounded by the enemies on all the sides. But this abetment of the Hamas crimes and aiding them, advising them, is in fact a clear sign of proxy war that European Union is waging against Israel. Amazingly, USA has not said a single word when this secret document reached USA. They kept mum. Why? Now, what right does any European official has to tell Israel that it's not permitted to enforce law against illegal squatters? May I ask these European officials, would they tolerate it if, for example, an Israeli government official or an Indian government official told the authorities in Paris or Madrid that they are not entitled to take action against those people who break the laws in their cities? Somebody breaks the law in Paris or in Madrid, and then naturally is punished. Should Indians object to it? Should Pakistan object to it? Should Israel object to it? I can tell you, the response would be furious and brutal. The actions of the European Union expose one thing: there is a deep hostility towards Israel in Europe's proxy war, and an undisguised bias in favor of the Palestinians. This is the unfortunate aspect, and that is the primary cause of the tension. By being obsessive about Israel and ignoring the crimes of Hamas and Gaza Strip, the European Union is in fact doing a massive disservice to 2 million Palestinians who live there. The European Union's actions always seem to be more about hating Israel than helping the Palestinians. Their charity is motivated by malafide intentions, and hence it's reprehensible, despicable, detestable. If the Europe really cared about all the Palestinians, they could raise a roof about the crimes committed by Hamas against the residents of Gaza Strip. Let them be honest brokers. Let them say, this is wrong done by Israel, this is wrong done by Hamas, and Hamas crimes are much more than that of Israel. But no, they wouldn't say that. And they would be calling their cohorts in Palestinian Authority for abusive governance, for corruption, for embezzlement of public funds, and especially the Palestinian crackdown on Hamas, on human rights activists and journalists. Those people are trying to tell the European Union, they are trying to tell the international community that the so-called human rights groups of the brutal conditions under which their leadership is keeping them and is forcing them to live there. But European Union won't do that. Now this is something which has to be thought of. How it's going to end. Would it solve the problems? It won't. Is it anyway good for the peace in the world and the prosperity of the Palestinians? It's not. Why is European Union doing it? Well, the less said the better. But one thing is clear. The Nazi mentality deep down the skin is persistent. And for them to see resurgent Israel is anathema. And then They are typically won't believe that old policy, let these people keep on fighting, and thereby their dictates would be honored. Palestinians live luxurious life, Hamas leaders, not the Palestinians, thanks to, and then why should they live the style of life that they are living like the potentates, which is encouraged by that. So a select few pampered are keeping the tensions alive, allowing Europe to rule by proxy. And that's the proxy war against Israel, which media is not talking about. Because of the various reasons, which we have gone through many times. But this is unfortunate for the people living there and for the peace of the world. Thank you.